instances of paranormal phenomena have been reported in this desolate place. Events that may reflect the area's tragic past. Whatever they are, whatever you call them, ghosts, spirits, shades, specters, apparitions, there is not a corner of the world they do not inhabit.
I'm coming through.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Dangerous Podcast. We talk all things paranormal. I'm Ken James, and this is Jason McKittrick.
Hey, folks.
And if it can haunt, how or dwell in the dark, we want to talk about it. And tonight, we're talking about the ghosts of baseball or Afterlife in the Outfield.
Ooh.
Now starting for Other Dangerous Podcast, center fielder Jason McKittrick.
I can't run so good, so I don't know if center field's going to be the spot for me.
we all know who your favorite player is, though. That's why I stuck you out there.
Oh, yeah, man. Brandon Marsh is tearing it up this year. Last night, that was my only consolation. I was like, at least he played good.
Yeah. It happens. Early struggles in the spring.
Right. So what are we talking about here? Baseball?
Baseball, yeah. So, Jay, you want to kind of give a little bit of what's going on in your life with baseball right now?
Yeah, so I kind of had this, I don't know. I mean, I played when I was a kid, but thanks to our good friend Ken over here, I kind of...
starting first baseman now.
I don't know. He kind of got into baseball, and honestly, it's been pretty awesome because it's just an unplug for me. Like, it has nothing to do with artwork. I can just,
sit back and watch them hit dingers,
Yeah, and just and then yell at the TV. Now we're at that point.
Yeah, it's good. That's dude. It's the release, man. You gotta scream at the TV, man. Yeah, we'd be on the news if I didn't have TV to scream.
Sure. So we already we went to a game together.
Yeah, the home opener, baby.
The home opener, which was a fucking blast.
Yeah, dude, we did it big, man.
We did. So many glizzies.
Yeah, it was glizzy time. Cheesesteaks, beers.
So many tall boys.
Yeah,
I got pretty drunk there.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
yeah, you do.
So we had a good time. So naturally, because we were doing the baseball thing, we're like, well, I guess we have to do a ghosts in baseball kind of episode. So
absolutely.
So that's what we're kind of serving up here tonight.
Yeah, we're sending it right down the center of the plate, guys. Take a swing.
The first of many baseball puns.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. All right, guys. Tonight, I'm going to be bringing you our haunted headline. All right, thanks, Ken. Tonight's haunted headline is Magical Nails Found in 2,000-Year-Old Roman Tomb Were Meant to Stop the Restless Dead from Haunting the Living, archaeologists say.
Vampires.
Yep. So magical nails used to stop the dead from pestering the living have been uncovered in a 2,000-year-old Roman imperial tomb in Turkey. Archaeologists found that 41 bent and twisted nails at the ancient site of Skagalosis, which was occupied from 3rd century BC to the 13th century AD. The nails may have been used as a charm against a wide variety of evil influences, the author said in a study published in the peer-reviewed journal Antiquity on February 21st. Researchers believe that they may have been used to pin the body of mystery adult male to the tomb so that his spirit would be unable to rise. So, it goes on here, saying the remains were also placed under a thick layer of brick and lime. Yeah. This unique type of burial for the area, a necropolis of Sagalosos, the author told the New York Times. It was the only grave to use brick and lime out of 180 or so burials that the archaeologists have uncovered. So that's cool. And then altogether, these rituals suggest nails were thought to form a magical barrier surrounding the remains of a funeral pyre, the author said in the study. So that's a cool little haunted headline there.
Yeah. Also, that's something we see a lot too. Like, you have like the whether it's like the Italian corpses with like the brick just stuck in their mouth, or like, you know,
the cages they put over them in certain places.
Right. I think that was actually meant to prevent like robbers.
That too. Yeah.
That too. There's also the they would take the legs and, you know, cross them above the chest. So people are just afraid of dead bodies. I think that's all it really comes down to.
True.
And it's an ancient fear, and it's fun to see other cultures' versions of it.
Yep.
So, don't want any vampires.
No, you don't. No, you don't, sir.
So, but
that was our haunted headline. And Jay,
yeah,
I hear you have a little jump scare for us today.
Yeah. So,
jump scare.
Kinda, and I think this will probably fold into something else later on because, well, we'll just get into it. So, you know, Ken, they say places are haunted, but people can be haunted too, right?
Right.
So, last place I lived had lots of activity, right?
Yeah.
And I there's the voices and the stuff like that. But we moved here last July, and everything's been cool until about 2 weeks ago, and it's just me.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here on the computer where I'm sitting right now, and I was just working. I was just working on something, and I got goosebumps just out of nowhere. It wasn't cold in here. It wasn't nothing. I just got goosebumps, and for some reason, I turned around, and right the door behind me, I saw the back end of a man in old type overalls go up the stairs. Yeah. So I was, and like it took me a second. I was like, and I got up, looked up the stairs, and obviously nobody there, but I didn't hear footsteps or anything. It was just the tail end. It was just like the, and yeah.
So I will be keeping an eye behind you.
Yeah. So first official, I don't know, wherever
first
I was.
Official new house spookies.
Yeah. So the house is 100 years old. So new for us, not new for the house, I guess. But it was cool. I mean, but at the same time, it was like, because of the experience that was happening, I had like this weird, like old feeling. I don't know how to describe it. It was like I was in like a different time for a second. It was weird, and then it was just gone. So I think next time we record together, because we're doing a Zoom recording this time, because of life.
Yeah.
I think next time we're together, maybe we should throw together a little EVP session.
Yeah, damn right we should.
Just see what happens, because it was weird. And I didn't tell Christina, so if she hears this episode, she's going to find out in the episode, because she gets crazy spooked.
Yeah.
And she won't be able to sleep. She's like, I couldn't sleep all night last night because of your ghost story.
Yeah.
Like, well, they're watching you sleep. What's the problem?
They touch you when you sleep, right?
Right.
Like, that's what they do.
Sleep. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, maybe, mildly scary, but
yeah, that caught me when I got the text. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, it was definitely weird. It was definitely weird, and I was a little spooked, but then at the same time I was like, well, of course. And residuals, baby. Residual haunting.
What are you not gonna see ghosts? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Are you some kind of pussy that doesn't see ghosts?
Right. There's a t-shirt for you.
Yeah. Dude, we're a t-shirt factory over here.
We are. We just don't make any of them.
Mm-hmm. One day we have plenty. Go. Threadless shop and.
Oh yeah, that's true. But we don't put the zingers. We don't put the zingers on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's
they're offensive.
They are. But yeah, that was about 2 weeks ago, and yeah, that's all that happened so far. So yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing with us. your most recent encounter.
Most recent encounter, and I'll be checking behind my shoulder all the time now.
Yeah, and I got you. I got it right here. It's just it's more than half of the doorway. So if I see something, I'll I'll make sure to let you know. That there's a
murderous spirit.
Yeah, creeping up behind you.
Yeah. Let me know if my life is about to end.
Yeah. And then, it happens. And I'm like, well, that's it for this episode of the Dangerous Podcast. Next week, join me with new co-host.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ryan Flannery.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Nope.
Yeah. No. I'm like, God love you, Jay. Well, I'll find someone.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll find someone else.
Maybe I could join from the afterlife and you just talk to me through a Ouija board or something.
That'd be sick.
Yep, it would be.
It just keeps going. It's fine.
Right. It just keeps saying, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I guess should I get an EVP session going?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
right.
And that's one of them too. All right.
Exactly.
So, do you want to kick us off with the first little haunted baseball?
Sure. Because if you think about it, Ken, baseball kind of should be ripe for hauntings, right?
Yeah.
It's old. I mean, the sport is old. It's, American old. It's 150 years, plus. You got millions of players and fans taking part, right?
Yep.
And you kind of have to believe that there would be a few of the diehard spirits left over, right?
Yes.
So Fenway Park and Wrigley Field have been standing for like more than a century.
Mm-hmm.
Yankee Stadium also has some ghost stories and things like that. And there's the most famous example. I think it's more of it's a heartwarming ghost story, but we have Field of Dreams.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not so much spooky as it is that heartwarming story of America. But there certainly seems to, whether you're aware of it or not, you take all the American sports that are out there, and which one would you say is ripe for haunting? It'd be baseball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it has this, that Americana thing about it. And it just, so I wasn't surprised that when we dove into this, that it was like, it wouldn't be too
hard pressed to find material.
No, because it's like, oh, here we go. There's plenty of stuff. So
yeah.
So kicking it off, I kind of like this one because there's this alleged the ghost of Eddie Plank. Okay, yeah. Eddie Plank from Gettysburg, so double tie.
Yeah.
Was a Hall of Fame pitcher who left baseball in 1917. Plank passed away in 1926, but as the story goes, his spirit still lives on. It's fitting that a guy from Gettysburg would haunt the house he occupied before his death, right? I mean, It's just he's got So there's a couple years back, I think this was during a little Halloween promotion. A guy from ESPN.com decided to do a ghost investigation at the guy's house.
Hell yeah, love it.
So they said he got all this information together, and he found out that one of the better stories that came out of it was a Gettysburg College professor, a guy named Peter Stitt. He was sleeping with his wife in the house. They were the current owners at the time. When they heard a strange noise coming from downstairs. Another time, they'd be a little more specific in nature. You'd hear the sound of a ball hitting a glove or a ball bouncing off the wall.
That's cool.
And then you would also hear what he described as the sound of someone running to catch a ball.
Mm.
And then you would also hear the same noise of the ball hitting the mitt in the house.
Yeah. Running drills, man. Running drills.
I mean, it's crazy though. Like, did the dude run drills in his house?
Probably. I mean, it's a different time back then, man. The guy was probably always just like, his kids were trying to talk to him. He's like, hold on 1 second. He's just
right.
Pounding the mitt,
Right. And then there's been numerous sightings of the guy, at his own house. And I thought that was kind of interesting because it's, right off the bat, I was like, well, baseball pitcher ghost, Gettysburg, haunts his house and practices in the house. Yeah. But I guess, that would tend to be a little more of the, residual type. Because if he was running drills in there, it's like, well, I guess he did it enough times for it to be, recorded or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably a lot of times too with like the balls hitting the wall and the running. He was probably just throwing the ball against the wall and just like when it comes back, he's just scooping it. He's doing infielding drills, in his dining room or living room.
Yeah. So you never know, man. I mean, there's people they're still playing in the afterlife, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that in one of my favorite stories that I read in one of our scary stories to tell in the dark episodes. It's called The Bad News. Yeah. And it ends with, if one of the two buddies and whoever dies first comes back and tells him if there's, baseball in heaven. And he comes to him the day before, and he's like, hey, man, I got some good news and some bad news. He's like, good news is there's definitely baseball in heaven. He's like, the bad news is you're playing left field tomorrow. What? You son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, yeah, no, that was definitely was pretty sick. Ghost of Eddie Plank. I'm sure I have one of his cards in MLB The Show. But this next one up is the Curse of the Billy Goat. Now, what happens when you eject a man from Wrigley Field in 1945 for coming into the game with a stinky goat? The Chicago Cubs get a curse put on, preventing them from winning another World Series. After the people at Wrigley tossed out Billy Sinaias, owner of the Billy Goat Tavern, from the game, he was livid. He told the world that the Cubs weren't going to win anymore, and it turns out he was right. The Cubs have suffered many trials and tribulations since he initiated the curse. The collapse of 1969 and the 1984 team losing to San Diego Padres, and of course, Steve Bartman. How could we forget Bartman reaching over the stands and robbing? Oh my God, yeah. Robbing the Cubs of the of a difficult catch. So yeah, that was pretty rough for all the baseball fans out there. It's been a tough road for the Cubs, their fans, but all hope isn't lost. With each passing season, they have a chance to do big things. No matter how nasty of a curse the guy placed on them and his filthy Billy Goat laid at their doorstep, it's never over until it's over. Right. So and we're going to another game this season against the Cubs.
Yes, I actually looked that up yesterday. We were like, oh, who are we playing? I was like, the Cubs. Yeah. If we lose to the goddamn Cubs in home stadium.
We've lost. We win. It is what it is. No, but it's a fun curse, and there's plenty of them. There was the Red Sox curse. There's the ghost of Babe Ruth out there. There's a lot of those kind of superstitious. Dude, baseball is. Oh yeah, it is the superstition sport.
Oh no, for sure, especially the pitchers.
Yeah. Oh, dude, pitchers are head cases, dude. They're one little thing, and they just we're seeing it this season with the pitch clock. But that's the Cub of the curse of the Cubs there, and Billy the Goat.
So the next one up I have here is the Pfister Hotel. Yeah. Now this is a hotel; it's not a house of ill repute. Yeah. So this is in Milwaukee, and this is for it's a hotel that houses the visiting teams when they're playing the Brewers. Right. So and many of the ball players that have stayed at the Pfister have experienced quote unquote weirdness. All right. So even our boy Bryce Harper has had some kind of ghostly phenomenon. I know we were both looking this up. I didn't find his specific encounter.
Yeah, let me see if I can. Actually, Bryce Harper, the 2015 and 2021 NL MVP award winner, is perhaps the biggest name to have come forward with a spooky tale, also sharing it with ESPN magazine. While staying in the Pfister in 2012, Harper had laid out his shirt and pants on the table by the end of the bed before going to sleep for the night. And quote, "When I woke up in the morning, I swear on everything, the clothes were on the floor and the table was on the opposite side of the room against the wall. I was so flustered. I honestly thought there might be someone in my room. I had no idea what the hell just happened. So I actually looked around and then I checked to see if the door was still latched, and it was. Harper thought that perhaps it was a prank from a teammate, but no one came forward. The slugger then requested to be moved to a different room."
Nice. See, that's good. I like that. That's
that's a classic ghost story.
That's a classic ghost story, yeah. And like you want to kind of like think that it was like, oh, it's someone from the opposing team's ghost, from the past, like trying to mess with his mojo for the game the next day. Right. No, I dig it. So aside from Harper, there's also former Cardinal teammates Marcelo Ozuna and Carlos Martinez both claim that they saw a ghost in Ozuna's room. And then they all decided to sleep together in fellow teammate Francisco Peña's room for safety. All three of these
Peña.
Latin dudes, you know how they get.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's hysterical to me. You know, they all got scared shitless, and you know, they saw a ghost, and I'm sure it affected their playing the next day.
Absolutely, it absolutely did.
And then even funnier, and then I got to watch a little of this. Texas Rangers pitcher John Gray is a ghost hunter. He has a YouTube channel.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he investigated the hotel, and maybe we could drop a couple, maybe a soundbite or something from the video here.
The Pfister Hotel, a historic landmark here in Milwaukee, and that's because it's possibly haunted. John Gray, yes, that is a ghost finder, is a ghost hunter. He enjoys checking out historic sites to see if he can't find any invisible life living there. So I asked him what has sparked this interest.
Well, I had an experience when I was younger, but it really didn't start until this last off-season. I got to visit the Stanley Hotel, and it was pretty exciting, and all the tours they do there. So it kind of got me into it, and I thought it was pretty interesting.
So there you go. It really started in Colorado for him at the Stanley Hotel. He said he's checked out some other hotels in the off-season. He went to a place in Arkansas and tried to have an experience there with a ghost. So he said tonight he wants to go back to the Pfister Hotel and kind of rummage around, see if he can't have an interaction with the ghost, so to speak. But plenty of Major League Baseball players have reported, and there's a lot of articles of plenty reporting sights of ghosts in their room and how scary that can be. So it's very interesting that it's right here in Milwaukee, guys.
I saw Huey this morning, both going out for a run, and Huey said there was some paranormal activity in his room last night.
But yeah, there's some weird stuff going on in there, man. I mean, it's you know, it's not a new hotel. It's you know, it's got some age on it, but there's clearly some kind of weird energy following the players that end up in the
old Pfister.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yep.
And once again, hotels. We've talked about this here. We did a whole episode on haunted hotels. Yeah, just something about them, man. Something about them. And you can imagine too, it could have been, like you were saying, some other visiting player, you know.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it was a player that stayed when it was Harper. It was like a player that stayed because that's when he was with the Nationals.
Yeah.
So it was like a Phillies player, like a
right
Nationals jag off. Check this out. All right, guys. So next up, we're going to talk a little bit about Wrigley Field. Wrigley Field opened in 1914 as Babe Ruth was making his debut with the Boston Red Sox. Although, when the gates first opened, it wasn't called Wrigley Field. It was called Weeghman Park. Weeghman Park doesn't quite have the same ring as Wrigley, but at the time, Charles Weeghman owned the club called the Chicago Whales.
No idea that even existed.
Right. The Whales were part of an outlaw major league club called the Federal League. The Whales needed a place to stay, so Weeghman built the park and named it after himself. Imagine that, having the cash, especially back then, to just be like, yeah, I'll build you a park. You just
see?
Yeah.
Especially in Chicago.
Right. After 1915, the Whales and the Federal League folded. But Weeghman wasn't done with baseball. He formed a partnership with a man named William Wrigley Jr. They bought the Chicago Cubs and moved them into Weeghman Park. In 1918, Wrigley purchased a controlling interest in the Cubs for a time, and the field was called Cubs Park, and then in 1926, it was renamed Wrigley Field. Little did Wrigley know that his field would become a haven for otherworldly activities. A man named Grimm. Charles Grimm was a first baseman who played for him. I love it. Was a first baseman who played for and managed the Cubs. He joined
a hook for a hand.
Yeah, right. And he switched it out with his glove.
Right.
He joined Chicago in 1925 and took over the managerial duties from Roger Hornsby in 1932. All right. Over a 20-year career, Grimm amassed a 290 average with 299 hit seasons. As the manager of the Cubbies, Grimm had a 946 and 782 record with a 547 winning percentage. That's pretty damn good. He also won 3 pennants and appeared in the 32 World Series against the New York Yankees, and the Yanks swept the series, which is possibly why Grimm can't bring himself to leave Wrigley. he could still be trying to win a series for the Cubs. It has been reported by graveyard shift security guards that Wrigley bullpen phones ring randomly. That's cool.
Yeah.
Legend has it that the phantom calls are Grimm making pitching changes for the afterlife. I love that. Also, guards have spotted his ghostly image pacing the halls and have heard their names being whispered from the darkness. One explanation for his inability to leave the grounds could be that his mortal remains are housed in a private box in left centered field. Or it could be that he is still trying to outduel Joe McCarthy. Possibly it could be both. Either way, next time you visit Wrigley, don't be surprised to hear your name coming from the other side.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta love it.
Yeah, that's just
making pitching changes.
I love it.
So it is well known that fans bring the ashes of loved ones and drop a bit of them in the ivy so the deceased may watch baseball for eternity.
Yeah.
Also, they do that at Disneyland. So one such fan was Steve Goodman. Goodman was a well-known folk music singer-songwriter, the whole thing. And he penned the song City of New Orleans. I don't know off the top of my head. And then it was later covered by Arlo Guthrie, John Denver, Judy Collins, Willie Nelson. But also, Goodman was a Cubs super fan who wrote many songs about his team, which include the song Go Cubs Go. And it's played and sung at the close of every Cubs home game. Interesting.
Yeah.
So he passed away from leukemia in 1984, and his last wish was to have his ashes spread at Wrigley Field. He wrote, "Let my ashes blow into beautiful snow from the prevailing 30-mile-an-hour southwest wind when my last remains go flying over the left field wall." So the Cubs granted his last wish, and his ashes were scattered on Wrigley Field. Since his remains were laid to rest at the field, fans have reported seeing his ghost sitting in the seats behind home plate, enjoying the ball game as he did in life. Dude.
Yeah.
Filling in the empty seats. You think, oh, it's just a cardboard cutout, and it just disappears in front of your eyes. It's just like, all right, so I'm just gonna pretend
so that means it was a ghost. Yeah. Oh man. Sportscaster named Carey. You ever see Will Ferrell's Harry Carey impersonation?
Oh yeah, yes.
If the moon were made of cheese, I'd eat it. Yeah, but the first image that most people think of when they hear the name Harry Carey is those big black rim glasses.
Right.
The second thing that they think of is Carey leading his fans in a boisterous rendition of "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" during the 7th inning stretch. But just in case the name Harry Carey doesn't invoke these images, here is a short background of the mayor of Rush Street. Carey was a sportscaster on radio television for over 50 years. He started his career with the St. Louis Cardinals in 1945 and worked there until 1970. He also worked there for 2 years for the St. Louis Browns during this time. He then had a single season stay in Oakland, followed up with 11 years on the south side of Chicago with the White Sox. After over a decade, he moved to the north side where he would finish out the remaining 16 years of his career with the Cubs. He was beloved by his rock rolling personality and is immortalized with his statue at Wrigley. Carey died in 1998, but he hasn't left. Workers and fans alike attest to seeing his ghost haunting the press box. Oh, God, that'd be sick, man. And nearby bleachers.
Yeah.
Carey has... Yeah,
a weird ghost.
Yeah, right. Just in the press box. You're like, holy shit.
He's like over. He's like,
yeah. Carey has also come through in the form of an unexplainable mist, an inexplicable presence, and an overwhelming feeling. Fans had attributed these mysterious sensations to Carey, who was well known for interacting with the crowd. It looks as though death couldn't even stop him from his fans' relations. Oh. So yeah, he was out there, man. He was out there doing it. Still going out there. Grabbing a couple dogs.
Yeah,
hopping out there in the press box, checking shit out, man. That's good old fashioned ghost, man. I love it.
No, that's good stuff. So for the for the last one here, we have this was interesting, and I had to save it for the end here because even though it's a AAA stadium, it is literally the only stadium that has been christened an official haunted stadium. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about Frontier Field, and this is the home of the Nationals AAA team, the Rochester Red Wings in Rochester, New York. So there's a few stories as to why spirits have decided to infiltrate this 13,000 seat minor league baseball stadium in upstate New York. So there's rumors that bones were found when the land was being dug out to build the stadium back in 1996. Maybe human, maybe not. Mason, who's been with the team since 1990, isn't sure about the bone story, but he also isn't not sure.
Oh.
So he says, I don't know if they found bones, but there are a bunch of buildings on the site where Frontier Field is currently located. One of them was an old warehouse, and it actually burned down during the construction. It was actually going to be part of the ballpark. They found some old books, some shoes. I think it dated back to the early 1900s. He tells me the warehouse was once an old schoolhouse, and everybody knows that old schoolhouses from the early 1900s are almost always haunted. But according to Mason, that doesn't seem to be where the main ghost of the Frontier Field hails from. So he goes on to say there's a paper company that was on the site as well that they tore down to build Frontier Field. Apparently, they said that there was an old janitor that haunted the paper company, that his spirit didn't leave when they tore it down. It still roams the halls here at Frontier Field. So you have like a double haunting. Like he haunted this old paper factory, but then like it's just gone, and his ghost was like, "Oh, I guess I'm a baseball ghost now." So he's just sweeping these halls that just aren't there anymore. Apparently there in the last couple of years, the Rochester Paranormal Investigation Society they visited Frontier Field in 2004 and officially stamped it as haunted. They found a bunch of stuff. Apparently there's a bunch of orbs and dust and your typical kind of thing. The main investigator claimed to have been accosted by hostile entities while he was there, but doesn't give any more evidence other than that. And I think they really and then there's the floating head photo, which is lights. It's fun stuff. I mean, they're trying to get over there and like, hey, they're trying to do their thing here. There's a couple of pictures of mist, and it's your typical kind of like paranormal investigator thing. But the thing at the end that kind of that I really liked was the clubhouse manager Kevin Johnson in the book Field of Screams, which is a book about the haunted stadium, said that he's heard noises going up and down the stadium freight elevator. And he was so scared once late at night that he walked around the hallways with a baseball bat. And then the head groundskeeper, Gene Bonomo, a ghost skeptic, once sprinted out of his office after seeing a dark shadow and hearing loud sounds coming from the storage room. So now he never leaves the stadium by himself anymore. But there's literally dozens of stories of folks that work there or players that go through down the halls that they hear voices echoing at night down the hallways. Or the other one that I really liked was in the wintertime when nobody's playing, they'll sometimes see lights go on in in boxes where nobody is at, or they'll see a seat down, like the down position when someone's in it, and then it'll go up by itself. So,
yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, so that's Rochester's haunted stadium. I think that's pretty interesting, and I kind of want to believe the bone story.
Yeah, to be for real.
Yeah, they're like, no, man, it wasn't real. But then it's like they go back to it, and they're just like, actually, it was an entire cemetery. You moved the headstones, but you didn't move the bodies. It's one of those situations.
Yeah, and
that's what I choose to believe.
Yeah, it could be said that there's an entire ghost baseball, game that gets played once every year on a full moon.
Right. How cool would that be?
That would be sick, dude.
Yeah.
I actually have one more article here.
Yeah.
So, Babe Ruth, right?
Yeah.
This is actually a little article. It's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Bob Waria of Bleacher Report, and the headline is, "Come to think of it, the ghost of Babe Ruth haunting New York Yankees Stadium." So it's Babe Ruth must be turning over in his grave with the way his Yankees have started the 2009 season. Oh, sure, the new Yankee Stadium aka the house that Jeter built, sure looks nice, but it damn well should at the cost. But let's face it, Babe Ruth will always be the New York Yankees. To leave that park must have woken up the Bambino, because balls seem to be flying out towards right field. Now let's see. If I remember correctly, Babe was a left-handed hitter who used that short porch in the right field to his advantage for all those years. This is not taking away from him, since he also hit homers to all parts of the park. But there's no denying that that was a rather inviting porch out there. So now, suddenly, here comes this wind tunnel that no one seems to be able to explain. Well, my friends, there's only one plausible explanation for this. It's the ghost of Babe Ruth blowing those balls out of the park. Hey, before you scoff at any man with the ability to single-handedly curse one club could certainly curse another. Yes, the man died almost 61 years ago, but that's not the point. The supernatural and paranormal never sleep. This is truly a phenomenon, alleged to be outside of science's current ability to explain or measure. I'm not trying to alarm anyone, but I've actually seen hot dogs and beer fly out of that stadium as well. And where are they going? I'll give you one guess. Who knows what other things lurk now that we've stirred up the ghost of the Yankees' past? Never underestimate a pinstripe power wave of nostalgia. The question really is, will the spirit of the Yankees' great move across the street? Well, it seems to be the case. It's truly a symbolic passing of the torch, or a passing of the hot dog, come to think of it.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. The 2009, that was the year they beat the Phillies in when we went back to the World Series.
Right.
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Still burns. Still burns.
Yeah, buddy. Totally. And it's kind of funny. I kind of imagine the ghost of the Babe, kind of like, one of the Scoleri brothers from Ghostbusters 2, just out there, just like blowing balls out of the air, and just a complete menace, just eating hot dogs and just, beer. Just, he's like a cross between Slimer and one of the Scoleri brothers. He's not the dignified version from like Sandlot, where he comes out and
No.
gives the advice and then just goes. No, he's a menace that they can't get rid of.
Yeah he was in life, like in death, he was a menace. He was a madman.
Yes.
And I mean, there's something like very about baseball, especially at smaller levels too, when you go back and it's just like two teams out there at its purest level, the game at its purest level. And like, yeah, man, I love that shit. I love the sport. I played it when I was a kid a lot, and I had a damn good time doing it, and certainly has resonated with me as an adult. I get to yell at the TV. From March to September, I'm locked in. I'm glued in for all the games. And it's wonderful. We had a fun experience getting at the home opener, getting a little access to the Hall of Fame club.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and your friend get us in there, and and I think our presence ruined some guy's day. Real quick, we got so your buddy got us kind of access in there and got us 2 free cheesesteaks, right? It was a full Philly experience. So we you get into this area, and this is like the high ticket area, right? You gotta have I don't think you can't just do like one game in there. You gotta have like tickets for that area for like the season, I would guess. But so Ken's friend was like, okay, you guys can stand here, no problem. Just here, stand in this box here, and just standing room. Don't try to sit or anything, but just standing room. Like, okay, yeah, no problem. So we're in there, just hey, having a good time, and right away there's this one guy who like started like looking at us. I was like, this guy must have paid for this box, because he's like, who the hell is in my box eating cheesesteaks?
Eating my cheesesteaks.
Right. They probably were his.
Nah, they weren't his steaks.
No, they weren't. They
didn't taste like bitch,
So, and then we're in the box when was it JT or Schwarber hit that home run?
It was JT. It was JT hit the home run.
And we lost it because we already, I wouldn't even say half in the bag. We were pretty sloshed at that point.
We were in the bag.
Yeah. And
we were the bag.
Yeah. And that the guy was not having it.
Yeah.
And I think at one point you went to hit the bathroom and I'm there by myself and the guy's just staring at me. I looked at him. I'm like, we good? He's like, yeah, we're good. I'm like, okay. And I was like, because this guy wanted to get choked or something.
Yeah.
It's like, just relax, dude.
Yeah. We'll be gone in a minute.
Yeah, we'll be gone in a minute.
Just wanted a taste, that's all.
And it was cool to get in there. And but it gave me a warm feeling to know that we probably ruined his entire weekend just
fucking guys.
He's like, how much money I dropped on this? Thousands of dollars to probably rent out that box.
Oh yeah. And he's like, here comes Other Dangerous
Podcast. Here comes Other Dangerous Podcast for free with 2 free cheesesteaks. Enjoying it on my dime. It's like, well, not really. But
not really. We just hung out by the steps, dude.
We hung out. Yeah, and we were totally fine. We were cool. We weren't even being jerks or anything. And it's just, but
we were soaking it in, watching the game, eating our steaks.
Yep.
Catching up with my buddy.
Yeah, it was after like 4 hot dogs. I think.
Yeah, we went in. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a hell of a time. And,
we had a real good time, and it was cool. We sat under that new
scoreboard, the new
scoreboard. Yeah. We stayed in our seats for all of 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
They put all these dudes together, and it was just like, this ain't gonna happen. So, but that was a damn good time.
Yeah, hell yeah, it was a great time.
We're going back soon. Everyone's stoked.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be sick. Got a whole squad going.
Yep.
Phils are playing now. We're half in and half out of the game right now.
I'm sitting here in the haunted basement watching the baseball game. So basically, I am the episode right now.
Yeah, right. Samesies.
But we thought it would be a fun little detour. It's not an exactly a typical episode, but it is at the same time. But
it's this episode. We're like, baseball's beginning. We're getting we're getting revved up for the season. Why not get a little spooky baseball going?
Yeah, spooky baseball.
Right.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we can petition the Phillies to put out some kind of like Halloween version of their jersey this year or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, they make T-shirts with like all
kinds
of
Ben
stuff.
Franklin on it. Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Might hit my tablet up, see what I could whip.
Yep.
He also needs a bat, and then he needs a couple whores behind him.
Well, that's we were. It's funny, man, because last weekend we were at. I took my kids to the Franklin Institute, and there's the huge statue of him.
Yeah,
and like my kids are like, "Oh, that's huge" or whatever. And then Christina's like, she's like, "Is that marble?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, you see his face? She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "He's thinking about whores." She's like, "What?" And then I told her all this stuff about him. She's like, "Oh my God, is that true?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Also, he had a bunch of bodies under his house.
Well, yeah. Well,
scientific stuff.
Yeah. He was a monster, I'm sure. They all were.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Well, I think that that kind of wraps it up for this one.
Yeah, actually, before we go out, I just want to do a little shout out real quick. A little shout out, friend of the show. He was on our what was it, first episode, our double feature.
Oh,
yeah,
Murdoch.
my buddy Mike Murdoch. He is over at Safe Circuit Solutions. I just want to shout out. He's been good to me over the years, and I want to give a shout out. He's done plenty of work for me, and he does, electrical work. If you need any kind of service panel upgrades, switches, outlets, lights, surge protectors, system grounding, whole house generators, EV charging stations, and anything electric, he's your man to call. Look him up. He's on Facebook. He's got, you can Google him, Safe Circuit Solutions. And he's not paying. He's great guy, amazing work he does. He's greatly priced, and he's the dude to call if you're in the area, if you're in the Philly, Bucks County area, and more. And
a nice guy to boot. He's got the stamp of approval from ODP. Just wanted to, throw a shout out there to my boy. Yeah. Why not?
Well, why the hell not?
Instead of throwing shade on people,
we usually that's what we usually do. It's like let's up the karma here,
Yeah.
Let's shout out someone for a good thing for once.
Sure.
Right, but I guess that's gonna put the bookends on this one. And for this episode of Other Dangerous Podcast, I'm Ken James.
And I'm Jason McKittrick.
And as always, have a spooky evening. Thank you for listening to Other Dangerous Podcasts. Have you encountered the other dangers? If so, you can email us at otherdangerouspodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to have a discussion about the paranormal, you can find us at Other Dangerous Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. There you can find submitted pictures, videos, and artwork from listeners. We are now streaming on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else podcasts are streamed. And after listening, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to bring you the other dangers.